Chiefs are Super Bowl champions here in Miami as they win it here in Super Bowl 54.
That was Super Bowl 54, of course, and Kyle Shanahan being disappointed. Today I'm looking at Kyle Shanahan and his anxiety and his intensity, his overall behaviour, what makes him great, what pulls him back. But first I need to look at a background to him and also his characteristics. So let's check out how you can use anxiety and intensity in your behaviour and yet lead with strength.
No, not at all. The last thing you're thinking about when you're up 3 points and there's that much time left. I mean, clock's not an issue at that time, especially with the timeouts teams have. The issue is moving the chains. If you do move the chains, then you will wind the clock. But I want to say we had a run on first down and then a tip ball on second down. I'm not exactly sure. But no, you got to move the chains a little bit before you start thinking about running out the clock.
That was Kyle, of course, when he's speaking as normal in general ways in interviews. You'll notice that he says a lot of ahem between sentences, between words, between phrases. And that's the way he pauses when he's trying to gather his thoughts, when he's a bit frazzled as such. You'll notice that later on as well. But you'll also notice here where with Chris Sims, although doing an interview, he's far more relaxed, and this is him when he's in a good mood.
You're a surfer and a skater at one point in your life, but tell me how you developed this famous look. Now that it's back ordered, the Shanahan trucker hat is back ordered.
It's funny that
NFL.com shopping site.
It's funny that you are acting like most like my dad is and other people, thinking it's this made up look, but lots of people wear hats like this. The problem was I never wore a hat during games much because I just didn't like how the hats were. This is actually a hat I wear a lot, and I wear hats like this, mainly surfer hats and stuff like that. But when I went to New Era and they were asking why we didn't wear them, I just told them I was wearing one like this, and they said, well, you could design one. So they flipped the laptop around and they let me kind of design one, and I picked out a logo and I kept shrinking it. I made it a netted hat, and obviously got a flat bill and stuff, and I just made it like a hat that I like to wear.
So that's Kyle when he's actually doing a professional interview, but he's doing it with Chris, somebody he's really, really comfortable with and friendly with, around the same age group as well. You'll also notice there that his eye contact is really, really good and bright. Watching this next one where Kyle is quite fidgety and he's actually hunched over, and that tells a totally different tale. This is pre-season 2020 when he's getting very anxious indeed.
I mean, that's the benefit of being with someone before, that he's familiar with the offense. He only had 1 year away from it, did some very similar.
So that's Kyle when he's quite fidgety, when he's getting a little bit more intense as the season is gathering pace. In this next clip, you'll notice how he is happy, but he's actually after winning 31-13, in fact, nearly 20-point victory, and yet he's got this hand on his hip showing that he's ready for battle.
It really helped us today.
Look at all the injuries on the defensive line. What are those guys that stepped in for those injured guys like today?
From what I saw, they did a hell of a job. I mean, kept them out of the end zone there to that last drive. I know we had some guys who had to play out of position a little bit, especially when Solly went out also. Didn't have as many guys up. So those guys had to battle throughout the whole game. The players and the coaches have just rotated.
So even though he's ready for battle, he's already actually managed the game. The game's over, they've won. And yet he had a challenge in 2020, as many managers, coaches of many sports did, and that was the Black Lives Movement. Listen here as he speaks about the Black Lives Movement, and it really tells about his particular ethos and personality.
We have a pretty authentic place. Stuff we discussed a ton over the off season, especially with the George Floyd stuff when that happened. It's stuff that lots of our players have been dealing with their entire life, that people have been dealing with for hundreds of years. So now that there's cameras and stuff out there, people see it a lot more, which is why I truly believe it'll eventually change.
So Black Lives Matter a lot to Kyle, and the reason being is because when he was younger he played a bit himself, and he wanted to be just like the great Deion Sanders. Prime time.
On defense, as a safety, he made a career of getting between the receiver and the ball. Dion's reputation grew along with his dreams. After games, he would drive his mom past large houses on the rich side of town. He told her of his plans to use sports to build them both a better life.
Kyle obviously has respect for people that are black. You can see it here in this particular clip when he's interviewed by a man who is black. But also you can notice how he's drawn out about his hat and how his wife is really important in his life.
I mean, I liked it too, but I wanted to change. And I told my wife I was going to do that, and she freaked out on me. She tells me that was the reason we're winning. So I know it's not, but I don't want to have to deal with that. If I don't wear a hat and we lose, I'll have to deal with that forever. So I'll finish it out this year. There's only one more game left.
That last clip just shows that Kyle has a sense of humour, but he doesn't really show it. It's quick wit, it's flippant as such. And maybe this comes from the intensity that I spoke about initially at the start of the video. And this is where he actually used this intensity throughout his leadership and his management. It comes, of course, from, well, his childhood. His parents here explain, especially his mother, how he was very argumentative.
I think that's probably the first time we got serious about it. Kyle was a very good arguer when he was little, so we always thought maybe he'd be a lawyer or something. And we kind of pushed that a little bit. And then by the time, I think that year really just settled it. And then by the time we got to Denver, it was like, nah. So we just kind of let it go and hoped it would work out.
Well, I thought, like, he was 7th grade, 8th grade freshman year, and he went to camp each year with me as a ball boy. And I know he thoroughly enjoyed being around the players, and he got along with the players very well.
That, of course, was his mother and the great Mike Shanahan, the double Super Bowl winning dad. Trying to fulfill his father's footsteps has been a tricky thing, a thing that Kyle himself didn't really like up until he started being victorious in his own right. It was a pressure that he had or felt on himself, something hard to shake. Eye contact is something that's hard to actually develop though, and I spoke about it earlier. Now, the thing about Kyle, which is very unusual, is that in this particular interview, he has really good eye contact, and it's through Zoom. Yet most people are the opposite. They have better eye contact in real life, and the online thing, it's not as good.
Was there anything specific, or was it just like the energy, or just the focus? What was?
Probably just able to see me better, I guess. I'm really never practiced. I'm not frustrated out there. Probably the same way I look in games most of the time, too. The way I focus is kind of get irritated at everything, but I'm mad when every play doesn't work. And then when you're also counting on the defense to do the same thing, too.
So that's Kyle. It's very unusual to have that type of eye contact as opposed to the real life where most people actually have better eye contact. So this is Kyle in a real life interview where you'll notice here he initially looks at the interviewer but then looks down, which is that sign of anxiety that I spoke about at the very start of this particular video.
Tough loss. It hurts everybody in our room losing a Super Bowl.
At the start of this particular video, I spoke and showed even the Super Bowl 54, the Chiefs, the victory and the loss for Kyle. But he is man enough, big enough, and although he has the fidgety ways, although he puts the hand on the hip, he still is honest. And this is him being very honest and a big leader, speaking about the Super Bowl loss.
To sit there and run from something that I'm not going to run from that. I'm very disappointed about losing the 28-3 team, 28-3 game. I know it's very hard on our entire team. I understand perception-wise how much I had to take of that, but I think I can deal with that. I haven't been able to, and I feel like knowing that is maybe a little bit stronger.
Not just his dad, but behind Kyle, there's this hero worship, and I mentioned Primetime earlier on. Listen here and watch as Primetime interviews him, and they actually speak about Kyle's first Super Bowl and 1994 being a ball boy.
Pretty neat to be here. I got to come out here in '94 and watch you just take over. I wore your jersey the whole week. People offered me a lot of.
I heard that. I heard that, and that blew my mind, man. And I was smiling and giddy. You really did.
Oh, always, man. I was trying to be Primetime, but I didn't have the corner skills, man. I had to go to receiver and learn how to get in and out of breaks, just hang with guys like you.
It all goes back, though, initially to his dad, back to Mike Shanahan, back to when Kyle was on the sideline, growing up, knowing nothing but top-class football.
For my whole life, I would have said, heck no, there's no way
way you could do that. I hated always hearing, you got this because your dad, you got that because your dad. I wanted to be away from that as much as possible. Not away from my dad, just away from the talk of that type. I get it.
It's quite obvious that Kyle's relationship with his dad is hugely important to him. It's hugely linked not only to his emotions, but to his career. Watch here though when he speaks about that link between himself and his dad and how he uses his hands grasping this water bottle. And this is a notable thing that Kyle does in interviews, showing really he needs that comfort within.
That journey at all? Not totally, not yet. That is something pretty cool, and I mean that is something that is neat. It will be special once I sit down and think about it a little bit. I know people told me about football. Someone just told me that about 10 minutes ago about all sports, so that does surprise me. I know a lot of it's an advantage being a coach's son. You know, we grow up around it. You get to see what it's like. You get a little bit of a head start compared to most people with it, and just glad it's been able to work out for him.
Now Kyle is known as a brilliant playmaker, one who knows the plays, but you can see here his man management and his rapport with players is really good, and he feels the camera isn't really on him.
That was crazy.
So Kyle actually has rapport with his players, but he still has that intensity going on, even after games. Watch again here how he puts his hand to his hip in this cowboy-like stance, where he's again abrasively ready for action, even though the game is again already over.
Catch the ball gives you a lot of options.
Hunched over and hand on hip. This next clip shows the exact same thing, and notice how the coffee cup is center of his attention with his hands.
Also on the same boat. Go ahead.
Kyle, in addition to just what happened on the field, what did you guys gain from that week away? What do you think? Do you feel like it brought your team together? What was some of the benefits of the
Kyle is very much ready to answer the questions. It means that he's not entirely comfortable in answering the specific questions. And you'll notice here how, again, hands on hips and water bottle becomes his fidget of the interview. And it's not actually used for the functional use of actually drinking. Instead, he is just looking for that substitution for his emotional longing to be more comfortable in the conversation. And his hands are sliding against his thighs as if he's really anxious to get out of the interview. In this next clip, you'll notice that he even goes a step further. He uses his fingers on the actual lid of the water bottle and he doesn't even drink it. Again, it's showing that he's really charged. He can't seem to come down after that high after a game. So there you have it. They are the behaviours of Kyle Shanahan. You too can be a top class leader, and you can use those behaviours even though you're anxious or intense to do as well as Kyle Shanahan has. I've asked others what do they think, and they've come up, well, brilliant for me. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, well, and have more so, please subscribe. Until next time, please do have a wonderful day.